This episode is dedicated to Oliver. Thank you so much for looking over our girl Lil D during her hardest times. May you rest easy in Big Purr Heaven.
OMG. Listen, if you live in Dallas and you listen to the radio, then you definitely know the radio station
K104.
So then you've probably, more than likely, have heard the voice of our next guest.
Man, yeah, if you're from Dallas, you grew up listening to K104, especially in my time, before we had Spotify and YouTube and Apple and all the things and places you can stream our podcast. So DJs were like super important to our upbringing.
Yeah.
And this DJ is a super important part of the today's culture of radio in the city of Dallas. She's so much more than a DJ. But yeah, Lil D on air is going to sit down and talk to us today. And I cannot be more excited.
That's fun-sized, but it is mighty packed.
Fun-sized with a big old booty.
Yes, honey. Juicy.
Booty so big for days.
And I love it.
She's paying me, y'all. I get commission for however many times I mention how big her booty is.
She is also a writer.
She is. She's a ghostwriter. She co-writes and also does book editing. But she wrote and published her own book, and it's called Route to My Choice to Struggle to Succeed. And we read it, and we talked to her about it.
Yes. So we are so excited to bring you this conversation where we get to sit down and talk to her. If you guys want to get her book, definitely check it out. Find the link in our bio. This episode may contain content that could be triggering to some listeners.
If you have experienced houselessness and you live in the Dallas area, please click the link in our bio at 2ps_pod for a resource list for help.
You can also check out our good friends over at Say It With Your Chest.
They're a community organization that is solidarity for houseless homies. You can find them at Say It With Your Chest DTX on Instagram. Who the fuck are you, Lil D?
I am the shit. I am a radio personality, author, content creator, grown-ass woman at 5 feet and a quarter who knows who she is and she's standing on that shit. I'm a role model, an entrepreneur. I am a wife, a mom, a syndicated morning show host, a homeowner, and I'm rich.
Ready? Okay.
Big Purr.
It's Vanessa.
And it's Jasmen.
And we're two peas in a pod.
We're on air.
We are on air. We're on air with Lil D on air.
You heard me?
Hey.
You heard me? We are here with the one, the only.
Hype me up. Okay.
That's where Derek B adds the
Yes. Not only is she a radio personality, she is the author.
Listen, shut the fuck up. And I'm not even, no cap, but this book is good.
Thank you.
Like, and y'all know.
And that's no cap, because she for real sent me a voice memo saying, yo, this book, I can't even put it down.
Listen, I read books and I know shit, okay?
Mm-hmm. She's an English teacher.
One thing about me.
No, one thing about you.
I read books, and this book is not only well written, it's compelling to finish. Like, I have to know things. And there's more things I need to know. So the first question I really have for you is, when is the next book going to come out?
It will be out in the fall. It is not a continuation of this book, though.
Okay, well, talk to me.
But the next book is done. It's completed. I'm just waiting to get my final copy of it so I can make sure everything is perfect. I'm actually planning the release event right now. But This book is called Lil D's Love Lessons, 12 Steps to Better Mental Health.
Okay.
I love that.
So it's going to include lessons that you learned though throughout the process of your journey with this
100%.
Yeah.
That book, it's a little more present though. I went through a really terrible situation that not many people know about, and I had to exercise certain things to just put love back into myself. And so the book is the 12 things that I did to pour love back into me. Everything from bathing to cooking to taking yourself on a date. And it's 12 of them. It'll include like an assignment because you're going to spend a week on each lesson to see, you know, how you really feel, mark your progress. So yeah, I'm excited.
I love this.
It really works.
So
That's
that
amazing.
means that she just said she'll be back on next season to talk about that book.
Period.
Yes.
But no, I feel like, okay, so what I just heard you say after reading this book is I feel like you're going to help us understand how you undo some of the trauma that's done to you during the period in which you had to live a specific way. And some of it we're going to get into was a choice. Because it's a choice to struggle, which is kind of what we want to talk about a little bit today with you. But like the idea that when you are houseless or having to live in a struggle situation, for you in this story, you were in a motel and in your car. And then I think people don't really think about you're not only don't have proper shelter, but it means you can't care for your mental health because you don't even have food, like the proper nutrients on a daily basis to make your brain even be developed fully. Then you go into you don't have the peace and the quiet that you need to be able to like even get the rest that you need to do the job that you're required to do.
Yeah.
So there's like layers that then what happens is you develop these sort of bad self habits of living in struggle survival mode to where my biggest question at the end of this book was, I wonder what she's either had to undo or is still undoing that she did in this process because of the struggle that you went through to get to this place. Because it's like a pendulum, right? It's not always, you're not always out of the struggle. Struggle is always part of our lives. But the coping skills that you learned through this process, but also like you did some damaging things to yourself in this process. That's what I want. Let's talk about the hard stuff.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
This is how I know you read books and know shit. That's a
Girl,
really
don't play with me. We're
great,
annotated. Okay,
well thought out question. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Because, like, literally, you can't survive on peanut butter and jelly on a vertical plate. You hear me? You cannot. And you can't survive off of the bursts of sleep in between all the driving that you were doing. And then, like, your mental health is suffering because you're also worried about your animals during this process. So... And you even say it in here, like, very eloquently, you're fucking lonely. You just wanted somebody to give you a hug and just say, hey, man, like, it's going to be okay. And that was like your cat, your kitty cat.
So let's dig into it.
Let's get into it.
And my question is, why do you feel like, I know in your book you explain it, but why do you feel like you weren't able to reach out to anyone to kind of ask for that help?
You know, it was crazy. When I wrote the book, the answer to that question was I was so used to being in struggle that I didn't even realize asking for help was like an option. Like I was so used to shit going wrong that I just thought shit just goes wrong in my life. But as I've grown and gotten older, I realized more and more what it really was I didn't love myself enough to even realize I deserved the help. Like, you have to care about yourself enough to ask for help.
Yes.
And I didn't. I had never learned to, like, care about myself enough. There was actually a part in the book where my mom was like, she was mad. And she's like, don't you know I would help you? And, I mean, as honestly as I could, I just went, no.
No, yeah.
And I meant that shit. Like, I didn't know. So if the people who raised me, if I didn't know y'all would help me, why would I think anyone else would?
Right.
And so I just didn't even realize I could ask for help. Like later when my friends found out my rent was $300, they were mad. Like, wasn't no empathy. They was like, what the fuck do you mean? Why the fuck didn't you ask? Like, they were pissed.
That's what I wanted to know. Were Keith and them mad at you about all those times they could have just sent you a pizza or some groceries. When they read this, did you like catch hell from the people that love you?
I absolutely did.
You're good, because I would whoop your ass.
Yeah, no, for real. And they were just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a thing, though, because there's a lot of us. I think this is kind of becoming such a thing because social media maybe we only show the highlights, so we're afraid to be vulnerable with our lowlights, and
because the highlights sell,
right? So it's like so many people are getting used to secluding themselves whenever we're in like these spots, right? So what was it exactly? Would you believe it was depression? Were you like always like kind of the patterns, like conditioned to think that way or to feel that way, to do those things?
Yeah, even back to like survival mode. I was depressed up until the point in the book all of my life. Like I had always been depressed. I was raised by depressed people, and so much shit happened. Hell, in the book, I was just always, even if it was a little bit happier, I was always just generally depressed and surviving. I was raised like to survive. We weren't raised to thrive. We were raised like to get the bare minimum, and that's it. And you better hope you got that, and we'll see. And so, like, I didn't even consider other options. When you feel like this is all I have and this is just what it's gonna be, you limit yourself, and so now you can't even allow your mind to go, maybe I can sell something or create something or do something, because you don't even realize it's an option because you're so used to just surviving and that's it.
Yeah.
The scarcity mindset is scary.
It is crazy because I do think you are conditioned, like when you're just raised, like you said, all the conditions of you being raised that, you just move through life always. So then your new book will tell us how to break free.
The resolve.
That's crazy because my therapist literally told me, what's today? So she told me yesterday, I'm still in survival mode in certain areas. I was like, bitch, she was right though. But
no, but you know what? I see it, in the strangest spaces with you, only because we follow you so closely on social media. But it's little things, even like in some of your videos when you're cooking and doing things for yourself in your own space on those videos, you still give yourself less. I can see it. You accept less for yourself, even though you're in a way better place than this person, this version of D, this younger version. You still don't know yet that you deserve the fucking absolute most. Child sexual abuse in the family, and then not feeling protected from your own people does cause you to be able to not progress in a way that, like you said, if I can't trust my own people, then how the fuck am I going to trust you? And I just met you.
Yeah.
And that like never goes away, I think, with us. It stays with us to a place where we then just learn how to cultivate community, which is what we've been talking about this whole entire season, which is who are the people that you surround yourself with, because you don't have to choose route 2. You can actually open your mouth and say, hey, Jasmen, so like I can't do this meeting today, even though we have this in the schedule, because I'm just not in the place.
Yeah.
And guess who will step in and do the whole meeting? Jasmen.
Big Jasmen.
Yeah. And vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's about cultivating those spots. But I think that people who have suffered from any type of sexual abuse, be it child sexual abuse or rape, any type of sexual violence, and then knowing that you weren't protected. It's not even just the sexual abuse, it's the knowing that somebody could have stepped in on your behalf and they made a choice not to. And these are the people who say, I love you every day or whatever.
It makes you constantly seek protection from outside of yourself because you feel like you were helpless and you couldn't protect yourself. It's crazy how it works. Because it took me until, I would say, maybe 6 weeks ago. I've been in my soft girl era a little bit, been dating this man.
Yes. Okay.
But it's so amazing because it's the first time I've ever dated someone where I didn't have to say out loud, I feel safe because I already knew I was
You
safe.
feel it. You don't have to say it.
You know what I mean?
That's so beautiful.
And with that kind of feeling, when you can finally not have to carry all that shit by yourself, when you can finally... This is the first time in life I ever just cried to somebody.
Ooh.
And it was like 3 weeks ago.
I love that.
Like, I have just been so much lighter. When you finally don't have to carry all this shit on your own, it helps with being a little more vulnerable around people. But, I mean, everybody's always going to get all the layers before you get to the core.
Yeah.
I'm going to protect her.
But you do have that, like you say it in the book. You're like the girl you can drink liquor with out of a red Solo cup because you're everybody's homegirl. So that's why people are drawn to you. But you're really very closed off as far as like, we can kick it, but be careful what you ask me about. That's kind of like I feel like you still have a little bit of a, but of course, but for good reason.
I think you could ask me whatever. I mean, if I'm an answer, we'll see. But
well, speaking of what, we have a little game we're gonna play later.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think that especially in the business that I'm in, it's always important to keep the real you to yourself. You always got to keep something that's just for you that nobody else can have, so you can wake up in the morning with no makeup on and remember who you are and love her.
Bitch, who do we love?
Bitch, y'all know I love Lori Ann. She's my, you know how they say women crush Wednesday? But Lori Ann is like my women crush every day.
Yes.
I'm obsessed. I don't know. And mainly, not only am I obsessed with her, I'm obsessed with her body care products.
Girl, can I tell you?
I mean, they've been seeing our commercials for them.
Honey,
on
I be
Instagram.
rolling Tulum all day.
Bitch, look,
Wrist,
smell me.
here.
Smell my titties right now.
Oh my God.
Tulum titties. That's what I
Oh,
call
I
that.
love good Tulum titties.
Yes,
You know what
and-
else I love? It Girl.
I didn't get that. I have Eris, and let me tell you something. It's bringing
Ooh.
back, like, imagine if your grandma was the baddest in town. And although
her.
she had grandchildren, grandma was head to toe success. Business and grandma, sexy grandma.
She was wearing energies.
She was wearing Eris and then also giving it to her granddaughter who was wearing the lavender body oil.
Yes. And listen, we're bath girls, one thing about us. And
Always in the bath.
I got the bath salts. Honey. It made my skin feel real
Don't
good.
smoke those.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. But definitely bath with them.
Bath with them. I like to do the bath salts mixed with the lavender bath
Ooh, bubbles.
bubbles.
Yes. Facts. So I'm going to need y'all to go ahead and head on over to Energies. That is INNERGIES.co. CO, baby.
That's it. Energies.co. But okay, more about you and how amazing you are. So you're from Shreveport.
Yeah, shout out to Shreveport. 50 Cent just put the second largest TV and film production studio in the country
Okay.
there.
Did.
Yeah. Over 900,000 square feet, period.
We love Louisiana. Shreveport is not the place where I have people, but I love Shreveport because the best wings are still in Shreveport.
Say that.
The wingman, I don't know if he's still there, but shout out to the wingman in Shreveport.
Southern
yeah.
Made Donuts and Southern Classic all day. And shout out to
Okay.
Terry's Liquor.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Terry.
Okay.
Listen, Southern
You're
Made
like
is the
a real
best
Shreveport
donuts.
girl.
Period. See, I be trying to put people on.
Period, poo.
Anytime you eat it, it's like, oh my God.
It melts in your mouth.
Can't
It melt-
believe
literally
I ever
melts.
ate another
The
donut.
glaze is undeniable.
Yeah.
This
Cold,
is not an ad for them,
room
but if they'd like to
temperature.
sponsor us,
Definitely
please.
not gluten free.
No,
Just
yeah.
saying.
We're gonna work
Or
on that.
probably vegetarian.
I'm gonna put that in the suggestion box.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'ma
well,
see
we
what
will
they
go.
say.
We'll go on a road trip.
We'll call it a little D nut.
Yes,
That's fire.
yes, a little D nut trademark. Two P's.
Yeah,
Stop
2 Ps.
media. I love that. Okay, so then in this book, this is really because, like I was telling our audience, this is not your autobiography. This is just one small chapter of your life and the story of you moving from home to go to Ohio of all places. Listen, I'm a Dallas girl, but Ohio is a place. Like I have a really close friend from there, but she lives here.
You went Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio is it's a cruel place.
Don't do Ohio.
I've never been to Ohio.
Ohio
out of all the
because
states.
why would you go there? I mean, it's not.
I feel like
I'm going to
there
get a
has
whole
to
bunch
be
of hate
reasons.
now on because of that. But listen, all the people I know that have like lived there, they get here as quick as they can.
What parts though? What cities?
Some bad places. Like they're not. Well, I don't know. You were in Toledo, right? That's not a great place.
Toledo is not like first 48. Hell, that's in Dallas.
That's true.
But like it was smaller, slower. 45 minutes from Detroit, so everybody was saying "What up, though?" But it wasn't like so like country backwood. But like I also lived in Cleveland and Columbus. I was in Ohio for 10 years.
Okay.
Those are the
Cleveland
major
was dope.
cities.
Like LeBron played for the Cavs, you know, like celebrities downtown. Cleveland wants to be like New York really bad. Like they want to be like the big popping city. And so everything there is faster. The fashion is up to date. Like, you know, the clubs are popping. Columbus is a bigger, whiter Shreveport.
Yes.
Which is like great if you are looking to settle down with your family and you want a safe place and, you know, all you care about is college football. Like, you're going to thrive
That's
there.
for you.
It's just, you know.
How long were you in Ohio?
10 years.
That's a long time.
3.5 years in each city.
Okay.
When did you get there? What timeline is that? It was
2008, I got to Toledo, and I left Ohio in 2018. Came here.
So yeah, talk about that. How did you go from there to here, and how did you end up on K104? So for people from Dallas, everybody knows K104, obviously in Dallas. It's like the station for hip hop and R&B. It always has been since before I was. How long?
that
has
was
K104 been
that was
around?
Net Lead. That was that morning show. That I was raised on Skip Murphy.
K104,
Yeah, I
yeah.
used to call in all the time and talk to Net.
I love school. Why they still playing it?
love school. They still play that shit
right now.
There's a mini concert ticket I've won from a K104, you know, giveaway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've all
Kwanzaa
grown
Fest.
up with K104 here. So
Yeah.
for you to be on there and we see you every day, we're like, oh my God.
Fangirls.
Oh my God, we know her.
That's our girl.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Funny story. When I was doing radio in Shreveport, I used to listen to K104 like on the computer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my first like big radio goal, I wanted to be Cat Daddy's predecessor.
Okay.
And do nights at K104. He can have that now. I do not want to do nights. Your job is safe. But like I always wanted to work at K104.
That's
so
awesome.
sick.
So like,
How was it when you got that? Like how did you apply?
So
Yeah, how did you apply to it?
I didn't apply. So they didn't.
Okay.
I didn't get to K104 from Ohio. 97.9 The Beat brought me down. I worked there first.
Okay.
So I was working for the same company in Ohio, and long story short, I just realized that I didn't look how they wanted me to look, and so I stopped applying for jobs within the company.
Got you.
I just randomly sent Vita Loca a DM, and I was like, "Listen, I remember when you were in Shreveport. I used to listen to you. I listened to you in Dallas.
Okay.
Like, would you mind just listening to my stuff?" And she said, "Yeah, you know, we looking for a midday job." I had no idea because it was the same company, and I wasn't looking at them anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What, are you for real?" So I applied. They flew me down, and when they introduced me to everybody, Vita Loca, who did not know me, never met this woman in my life, hopped up like, "Lil D, oh my God, give me a hug,"
my God.
and ran my resume down to this man.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
Like, she could have did that for any of her actual, like, radio colleagues. Like, for her to do that, she didn't even know me. That shit was so real.
Yeah.
But that's how I got to Dallas. And then I got fired about 3 years later.
Okay.
On April Fool's Day. So I was at home.
Damn.
Yeah, that shit was funny.
Did you think it was a joke?
Absolutely not. I already knew it. I knew what time it was. I was like, all right, cool. No, I was high when it happened on purpose. Usually I didn't smoke before work, but God told me to smoke. And so I was like, okay, that's weird, but all right, fuck it. So when they called me to fire me, I think I sent a group text to all my coworkers, like, you know, I'm just letting y'all know it was a pleasure, blah, blah, blah. And like 10 minutes later, I was like, hey, that bitch really just fired me on April Fool's Day. Nigga, that shit is hilarious. But yeah, so I was at home chilling when I got the call from K104. I was doing like content for people, writing for the Dallas Weekly. Shout out to the Dallas Weekly.
Okay.
And they called me and they was gassing me up for real. But they was like, do you have time in your busy schedule to come work for us? And I was like, get the fuck, you know goddamn well I got time to come work for y'all. I ain't doing shit. So I started out on weekends and it was like 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. midnight to 5. Oh my God.
That's rough.
I was exhausted.
Graveyard.
I think that was June, and then by September they put me on middays.
Yeah.
And that was 2021.
So that's where you can find our girl.
Weekdays
tune
from 10
in.
to 3.
Yeah, tune in. Lil D on air.
Lil D on air. K104.
Love that.
Just out here winning and shit.
I know. Look at you. Like, say it loud.
You know what I mean? But that's regular. That's expected.
okay.
You know, I'm gonna win. I'm number one.
You
Hey,
are. And one of the
she
things that
knows,
you
she
mentioned
knows.
was while you were between 97 on the Beat and K104 was content writing.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we actually found you, or you found us, or we found you, or however we linked up on social media, was because of that. So I want to talk about your you do ghostwriting and editing, and you've helped people who are incarcerated or formerly incarcerated tell their stories. And that's kind of, I feel like that was where our connection came in, because we had de facto book clubs in prison, and that was like, okay, we're on some same journey somewhere. So how did you get involved in that?
Shit's crazy. I went from how I was in that book, unemployed, and like, I don't know what to do because I don't have a job. I need somebody. I need something, right?
Some income, yeah.
And then to this time, being in between radio stations and going, okay, how we gonna make this money? And my first thought was, self, you wrote a book for yourself. You could probably write one for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how you like solicited like people for that, but I kept saying to myself, you could write a book for somebody. I know you can figure it out. You can figure out how to write a book for somebody. And I randomly got this DM from somebody who somehow found me because they were looking for an author for their brother who was in jail. And like, I really don't mind. Prison clients pay on time. I have no issues. We communicate very well. Mm-hmm. Like, I literally have zero issue. I will be the author to everybody in jail. Like, holla at me.
Listen, prison author to the stars.
I have
Lil
no
D
problem
Porter.
doing it. Like, what's up?
One of the things we're journeying into this season is talking about legacy. And you're a part of that conversation with the, just writing of this book, because this story is part of your legacy, as well as the next story and the next story, and however many books you end up writing throughout the course of, your life. How do you see legacy in terms of what you're doing differently than maybe what you were taught legacy was, and how important you think that is as we move forward in society with people telling their stories, even when sometimes they're hard to tell and hard to read? Because there was parts of your book was like,
yeah, I haven't read that book.
Damn.
I haven't read it as a like printed book. I really think that overall, my legacy is going to be loving yourself enough to love other people better. And being okay with just telling the truth. Like, the more you love yourself, the less of a fuck you give about what somebody else thinks about it. Because at the end of the day, I can't protect someone else before I protect myself. So if that's my story, that's my story. And how you feel about it has nothing to do with me.
Right.
Because you don't know the therapy that I've gone to. You don't know the healing I've had to do to get to a place to write that shit in words. So I hope that what I leave behind is a spirit of loving yourself 1,000%. Because the more you love you, the more you operate in love. And that's what makes the world a better place. Like, that shit corny, but really, like, that's what makes the world better.
I say that's how you experience God.
Even when you beat somebody's ass, beat their ass in love, pick them up afterwards and be like, hey, bro, listen, I don't want to have to do that shit again, so tighten up. And I'm with you, though.
Yeah.
Love is really my religion. That's what I tell people. Like, even when I got to check you, I'm going to check you in love. And then let's move on.
I'm gonna quote from your book.
Come on, quote.
I'm gonna quote you. So, and basically what you just said, I feel like this was like the takeaway from anybody who's experiencing a season of self-doubt or being overly critical about their ability to succeed or survive through a hard time. You say, this is in chapter 7, you say, it is so unhealthy to allow negative thoughts to control you. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, and you have to use it to speak positivity and love into your life. I could have saved myself a lot of tears had I employed this routine in that motel. And I feel like that's what you just said really was.
Yeah.
It's love, it's self-love. And the idea that, a lot of people say, oh, we meditate to clear your head or we do this or we do that type of thing. But that's what it is, that self-talk of, no, I'm not going to allow myself to say negative things about myself because we'll believe that shit. Especially if we come from a place of trauma, it's easy to just get into that trauma bath. And
it's like the thing is, just like we'll believe the negative thoughts, you can also believe the positive ones. But self-love is also a everyday, every moment kind of decision. Self-love is taking a shower. Self-love can be doing your fucking dishes. You don't want to do them because you sad and you on the couch. But get your ass
preparing
up.
yourself a good meal.
Straight up.
Yes.
That's really what the love lesson is about.
So what's your advice to people who feel like they ebb and flow in and out of self-love? Because I feel like even healing is not even it's not a straight line. We all
Absolutely
know that.
Not.
No, we dip in
and out of it. So
levels.
how do you keep yourself in that self-love mentality?
I don't even know if that's 100% possible because I have a period every month, and let me tell you, that 1 week a month, I be like, oh, I just hate it here, and I don't know.
Same.
It's so ghetto.
My PBP and
But I think that even in those moments, I'll tell myself, listen, I know it's just your PMS, and I know we sad, and allow myself the sadness. Fuck it, I feel kind of fat and ugly today, and I don't like it, but you know what? Whatever, I'm just gonna wear a bigger shirt because that's how I'm gonna
You
love
literally
myself
just
today.
did my self-talk this morning.
But it's even in those moments, how can I be there for myself? I don't really feel pretty. Okay, well, you know what? Fuck it. We won't get on Instagram today. I'm gonna just go to work. Oh, you feel bloated? Bet. Put on a bigger shirt and wear a jacket because it's okay and we're gonna get through this. I think the biggest thing is remembering that you're still your best friend and you still there for you. We all have, but every day is not sunflowers and roses, and that's cool. So on the days when it's not, just still be there for yourself like you be there for your bestie who's having a bad day.
Yeah.
And tell yourself hey, listen, I know, I get it. Listen, when we get home, we're going to get some ice cream and we're going to go to bed and it's going to be all right. But just remember that I got you. It's cool.
This is 2 Peas in a Pod. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe and follow us on every platform at 2PS_pod.
And make sure you go on over to YouTube and check out the video from this season.
The literature we discussed in this episode can be found at the link in our bio.
At our Instagram, which is at 2PS_pod. 2 Peas in a Pod is hosted by J. Nicole and V Diggity Dog.
Audio editing and sound design by Derek B.
Music by Imperial Soul.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
This episode is dedicated to Oliver. Thank you so much for looking over our girl Lil D during her hardest times. May you rest easy in Big Purr Heaven.